Let's get this party started.
Coverage tight, spotlight on tomorrow. Who you with? Trust, you'll be delighted that you followed. At Phirst Contention, the invention. We debate sports, of course we should mention. What's that? We cover games, we don't play suspensions. We 100, so if your star's missing, we let you know your squad surely gone fishing. We never fish though, no, not our motto. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention.
All right, audience, welcome to Phirst Contention. It's your favorite host, the Quesosina. I'm here with the fellas here of the sports world. We have Marv.
Hola, senors and senoritas. Don't act like we ain't hear you use yourself in the third person either, Kay.
You're still doing that thing, huh? Okay. Steve.
What's going on, everybody? Let's have a good debate today. Strive higher every day.
Absolutely. And lastly, Ty.
Salutations.
All right, so basically we're here today to talk about the week in NFL, our biggest disappointments, our biggest surprises, and of course, who did it best. We're going to start off with this, and we're going to start with you, Marv, here, because we all know how much you like to talk. What would you say is your biggest surprise this week in NFL?
I think my biggest surprise this week would have to be Skittles running all over that Dallas defense up in Seattle. I have to give it to Marshawn Lynch and the rest of the Seahawks, demolishing the Dallas Cowboys 27-7. I thought the Cowboys was going to be able to go to Seattle and at least make it close after beating the Super Bowl champs Giants this past Wednesday, but Skittles had a feast on them rushing for, or the team rushed for over 182 yards. So my biggest surprise is Seattle winning this week.
Absolutely. Did Marv finish before the timer went off?
Wow.
I think he
Bang,
did.
bang.
That would have to probably go down as my biggest surprise this week. What about you, Steve? What is your biggest surprise?
I would have to say my biggest surprise is going to be with the New England Patriots losing at home against the Arizona Cardinals. They had plenty of opportunity to kind of take this game away, but a couple of early turnovers, a special teams play. Arizona came to play on defense, and the game just didn't go their way. They had a chance to win it at the end twice. They had a running touchdown that was called back, and then they missed a long field goal to win the game, about a 50-plus yarder, and they lost at home. And that's a surprising thing for me.
Absolutely. Definitely a surprise. And Ty, what shocked you the most about this week?
I'm going to take my surprise to South Beach. We're talking the Miami Dolphins. Now, they only upended the Raiders 35-13, but if you saw Hard Knocks, this was a team that I didn't think was going to win more than 2 games this season. They've already won half of what I thought in week 2. And got to give a big shout out to Reggie Bush, who went off. He ran for 172 yards and 2 touchdowns, one from 65 yards out. While Tannehill wasn't anything too impressive, he didn't blow the game. He kept the team on pace, and he threw his first NFL touchdown. So Miami Dolphins winning. Who would have thunk it?
Reggie Bush going off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, with every good, there is a bad. So, Ty, why don't you tell us, what would you say is your biggest disappointment this week?
Biggest disappointment, we're going to go to Baltimore, a team that we thought was top 2, for sure, best team in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens. They end up losing by a point to the Eagles, who did it again this week. They forced 3 turnovers and still lost the game. Why? Because they tried to show how great Joe Flacco was. He finished the second half, I believe, 8 completions out of 22 attempts. And at one point, Ray Rice was 7 attempts for 78 yards. That's about 10 yards a clip. So why not hand the ball off? He overthought it.
He did. He did. What about you, Marv? Are you going to overthink your answer, or are you going to do it? Surprise us. What is your biggest disappointment?
I'm just going to sit here and surprise you. Let me read off a couple of names to you. Andrew Luck, 30. Mario Manhandle
Okay.
29, Ryan Fitzpatrick 42, Matt Ryan 44. The reason I'm saying this is these are all the people that have rushed more yards than Chris Johnson in Tennessee right now. So my biggest disappointment would have to be Chris Johnson down in Tennessee rushing for only 21 yards entering week 3. So with that being said, C2J or whatever he calls himself is right now slacking and lackluster, and it's not looking too good for him right now.
Absolutely. What about Steve? I see you shaking your head. Clearly, you don't agree. What would you say is your biggest disappointment this week?
I mean, I agree. That's just a horrible situation for fantasy owners of him.
Tragic.
22 yards, whatever. But my disappointment had to go. You know, we got Washington Redskins up here in Maryland, and you know, RG3 had a great first week. He goes into St. Louis. He's dominating the game again. Has a chance to win. Throws the ball to Josh Morgan. He gets tackled, gets into a confrontation with Cortland Finnegan. We all know that he can't really play, but he talks a lot of trash. Throws the ball at him. Now there's a penalty. They're outside of field goal range, and the field goal is missed. They lose the game. If I was a coach, cut him now.
Bang, bang.
All right, so you're saying cut. We all had disappointments, but I kind of want to take it to a lighter note, something a little bit more pleasant. And Steve, I'm going to start with you because you ended. What would you say is your play or player of the week?
I'm going to have to go with Mr. Fourth Quarter himself. Yes, Mr. Eli Manning. He did it once again. Came back against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday. Was down 27-19 with about 7 minutes left. Came back, scored 25 straight points to win 41-35. Threw over 500 yards. Had a couple of touchdowns, especially had his wide receivers in the game. Both of them had over 10 catches, 175 yards in the touchdown. Just showing you what he's been doing in the past. He's a Mr. Clutch, Mr. Fourth Quarter.
Okay. All right. What about you, Marv? Play or player of the week that isn't me?
I'm sorry, Miss Sosina, but we're going to have to go with discount double check.
We can't see you.
But you know the name, Clay Matthews, 3.5 sacks this past week.
Clay Matthews was in that commercial?
We would also like to give a special shout out to Jay Cutler and Marcus Webb for putting him in the Pro Bowl this past weekend. So my player of the week is Clay Matthews, leading the league with 6 sacks, tying with his 6 sacks of last year. So thank you, Chicago and the offensive line and Mike Tice for putting him into the Pro Bowl.
Thank you, Matthews. Thank you, Marv. I really appreciate it. I really think, though, side note, we need to get a fund together to put some oil into Marv's chair. Because apparently there's a 5th host on this show. What about you, Ty? Your play or player of the week?
So what I'm going to do now is beautiful. We're going to segue from Marv's disappointment in CJ in Tennessee to my player of the week in CJ in Buffalo. CJ Spiller, 123 yards on the ground off only 15 carries. He also added 47 receiving yards in the air. This is ridiculous what this man has done in the first 2 weeks. He's the only player in NFL history to average over 10 yards a carry in the first 2 games. And after last week's embarrassing loss to the Jets, this is a great way to come back. And CJ Spiller has been unbelievable on the field and in fantasy league. So hats off to you, CJ.
Hats off, exactly. And so, I mean, you know, we come here today, we talk about the biggest disappointments, we talk about the biggest surprises, and we talk about the players of the week. And, you know, of course, we like to thank the audience for tuning in. I've been your host here at Phirst Contention this week, Kehinde Sosina. You can follow me on Twitter at @KSosina, just like it says down there, Sosina. Otherwise, Marv, what would you like to say to send the people out tonight?
Adios, amigos.
All Spanish with that one, huh?
Bang, bang.
What about you, Steve?
See you later. It was good debate. Let's get ready for next week.
Absolutely.
Trying to get another fantasy win. I'm not putting Jay Cutler in no more. I'll tell you that.
Oh, hey-o. Bang, bang.
What about you, Ty? What would you like to send the people off with?
Keep your eyes on those Chargers.
That was just awkward. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate everybody that tunes in. Make sure you tell your friends. And this has been this week of Phirst Contention with your host, Kehinde Sosina. Tune in next week, ladies and gentlemen.
Ride with Phirst Contention, that's full throttle in. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Phirst Contention. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Phirst Contention. Game face grit, like born for playoffs. Say it all in small time like payoff.